In this series I look at different heroes, items and strategies you can use against an ultimate ability in Dota. In this episode I'm going to be looking at Windranger's Focus Fire. Windranger is essentially the flavour of the month right now. She's been picked more and more. I've even been playing her a lot. To a certain extent it is important to understand how to play against this because she is very heavily in the meta, both being played in the mid lane and the off lane. So what way does a Windranger player think, and what ways do we have to understand to play against her? Well, the first thing that's really important to know is that her focus fire does a lot less damage than her normal right clicks. It reduces her damage, especially on level 1, very heavily, and if she doesn't have any damage items she doesn't do a lot with focus fire. As well as this, it increases her attack speed, but she's doing lots of little instances of damage with her right clicks. This means that armor items or any damage blocking is really important to dealing with her focus fire. The other thing is the fact that she's casting spells, especially with power shot. She can do a very heavy amount of harass, so it's important to be able to pick either a hero to lane against her that is going to build a regen item. So a lot of the time you get people picking up a Ring of Health. A lot of the time as a carry you might want to pick up something like a Vanguard or even a Helmeted Dominator. The bad thing that you really don't want to do is pick a mid laner against Windranger that can't survive her harass after level say 5 or 6, because the thing is that if you're standing in lane and you don't have any passive regen item, she's just going to force you out of lane. You're not going to be able to sit there and just farm. Heroes maybe even like Dragon Knight who have a passive ability, he has relatively high armor as well. Does his passive even give you armor? I think so. But again, this is a hero that is a good idea, whereas a bad idea would be a hero who sits mid lane who really needs to farm from 5 to 10 minutes and sit mid lane, but can't survive this passive harass from a distance with the power shot. So why is it important to understand about power shots harass? Well, the thing is, if Windranger can get you down to lower health, she's more than likely going to chase after you with the focus fire. Now with the newer changes to focus fire, she can run after you, but also even when she's running away she will keep attacking you. The only way that you can stop attacking as Windranger is to press the S key, and you have to hold your position. When you run away it doesn't prevent you from attacking. It's really annoying to a certain extent, and it means that blade mail is quite good against Windranger. However, there is a couple of exceptions to this, and the main one is the fact that you can get the Windrun invisibility talent and it will prevent you from attacking, and this is important because it allows you to disengage from a fight very easily, and it's more so the fact that this talent is really important as a Windranger as a whole. It's just incredibly strong right now. This talent isn't until level 20, but one of the other things that's really important when Windranger just hits level 6 is to know what her items are. If she just has boots of speed, she's not going to do much damage. Even a Ring of Basilius plus a boots of speed, her focus fire doesn't do a lot of damage until she has phase boots, because phase boots is a very effective way of getting damage on the hero. And even buying stuff like Ring of Aquila and Null Talisman, these are items that give her damage that work really well with her focus fire. If she doesn't have any items very well in lane, she was playing the off lane, got zoned very heavily, her focus fire is not very strong. The main way that you manage to kill Windranger throughout the game is with magical damage, pretty much because she doesn't have that much health, and it forces her to go BKB later in the game. A lot of Windranger players are too greedy to go this BKB and they end up losing the game because of it, so don't be impatient if the Windranger is snowballing really hard. Just one bad item choice can turn the game around pretty easily. The other thing with Windranger is that she sometimes goes this build of Lincoln Sphere first item. This build can sometimes be really good if the enemy team have a lot of single target spells for crowd control. However, the thing is that this build is not as preferable as it used to be because Lincoln Sphere has been nerfed over time. Anytime that you manage to get the enemy to do an unpreferable item build, it's generally a really good thing because it forces them to play in a way outside of their comfort zone and limits their progression as well, because they might want to go something like a farming item instead. So straight off we're going to just go and look at direct hero counters to Windranger. The first one is Venomancer, pretty much to the fact that he's so much magical damage. If you end up ever looking at the end of the game and see how much damage Venomancer does, you'll see that he actually does a huge amount, and nearly all of it is magical. Even if Windranger manages to win a team fight against a Venomancer, Veno will end up leaving Windranger with so little health it'll be very dangerous for her to push a tower. As well as this, her power shot doesn't do any damage to his wards, like his little serpent things that shoot, and that's pretty big as well because it means that you can preventing her essentially from easily pushing a tower on her own. Another hero which has essentially been buffed recently, being a counter to Windranger, is Centaur, because his return, it's very hard for Windranger to focus fire and kill a Centaur, but the fact that now that she can't run away, when you try to run away, what happens is that you keep attacking and you can't disjoint that in the earlier parts of the game until you get this Windrun talent of invisibility. And it ends up being, if you hold your position as Windranger, it ends up being very easy for the Centaur to get a double edge and do that magical damage to kill you. As well as this Centaur, a lot of the time ends up buying something like a Vanguard. You can build this into a Crimson later, which are also very good items for countering Windranger. Another hero that works very similar to Centaur is Bristleback. The fact is that when Bristleback is running away, Windranger will want to chase after him. The thing is, with Windranger, you are attacking him a lot of the time from the back, and it will allow him to do more quill sprays. This is not very good, and you won't be able to chase him for too long. In general, it's not a good idea to chase a Bristleback, if you get what I mean. The other hero that you want to play, if you want to pick a carry, is Spectre. Spectre is mediocre against Windranger. You need a support to help zone out the Windranger, but the fact is that Spectre a lot of the time builds Vanguard. This is damage block, it's really good, it gives you passive health regen, and in general it's good against not only your power shot but her focus fire. Other things to note as well is the fact that Spectre a lot of the time goes Radiance, which does a lot of damage to Windranger later in the game. As I said, magical damage is the main way to kill Windranger. Another good carry hero is Chaos Knight, because he ends up buying Armlet first item, which is like with the Helm of Iron Will, you get +9 armor, which is really good against Windranger's focus fire with just when she hits level 6. Not only that, later in the game he has multiple targets with Phantasm. It's very hard to understand which one is the real one, and even in the earlier parts of the game, his first two skills, his Stun and his Reality Rift, are quite good against Windranger. Reality Rift can pull Windranger back when she's trying to escape with Windrun, and also the fact that his stun, if you time it very well at the right time, you can stun her during her Windrun and she doesn't get that full distance to run away with the extra movement speed and evasion. One of the really good support heroes against Windranger is Shadow Demon, because of the fact that he can purge her Windrun with Demonic Purge, which is his ultimate. Not only that, when your ally gets shackle shotted onto a tree or even to themselves, to like another unit, you can disrupt them, and it basically means that Windranger, it's really important for her to hold someone in position to get her focus fire and do a lot of time in it, and even just to aim the power shot and get that on to hit. The fact is that Windranger is not very good if she ends up missing a lot of shackle shots. It might seem that she's kind of strong even without hitting the shackle, but in general, a lot of the time, even when I'm playing Windranger, you need to be hitting those double shackles and even shackling people onto the trees, otherwise they're not secured kills. Shadow Demon can essentially just save your allies so much. Whereas if we look at another hero like Winter Wyvern and just compare and contrast, Winter Wyvern's heal ends up setting Windranger up very easy to hit a very good power shot at full charge, because you can't end the heal at any point. But the thing is, when you have disruption from Shadow Demon, you can't take any damage while in the disruption, and in general it makes Windranger commit to her position for a little longer than she would like. There's a couple of other heroes which are also really good against heroes who end up getting shackled on your team. The first one is Abaddon. His shield can purge the shackle, but also his ultimate is really good at not dying from focus fire, and he can heal up afterwards. And even if you manage to proc the ultimate with Windranger's focus fire, you can chase after her and heal up. When she's trying to run away, she's still going to keep attacking you. The other hero that can easily remove shackle is the Legion Commander with her Prestige attack. This is her heal. You can use the heal on your allies and essentially save them from shackle. As well as this, Legion often builds blade mail, and even a well-timed duel can kill the Windranger pretty easily. Even if she gets the Windrun off beforehand, the fact that you can hold her into position, she's doing damage to herself with blade mail. And the other thing is the fact that holding her in one position, you can get a lot of magical spells from your allies onto Windranger. And as I said again, magical damage is what kills this hero. And even later in the game, it's not that bad of an idea to build up an MKB to counter the Windranger. One of the really good heroes that also has a lot of characteristics which help counter Windranger is Kumki. He can be played both as a support and a core, and the thing is that he's really hard to kill for Windranger because of his high strength. He has a HP regen talent later on in the game, I think at level 15, But as well as this, as a core Kunkka, you often build Armlet, which essentially giving you more armor, as I mentioned earlier. The other thing is that with his spells, with his Ghost Ship Torrent, he does a lot of magical burst damage, and you can cleave off a creep. Even when Windranger is like running away, you can cleave. It doesn't matter, cleave goes through her evasion, which is really good. The other thing that's really important as a support Kunkka, or even just as a core Kunkka, is that X marks the spot counters her win run. If she wants to escape with win run, even if you use X during her win run or before it, you can just pull her back, and X marks the spot lasts 4 seconds, and that's longer than, or roughly around the same as her entire win run lasts. So you can easily catch her and pull her back, and her win run essentially wasting her entire spell. As you can see, there's a lot of different hero counters to Windranger, and there's even more that I haven't mentioned, but I really just wanted to highlight the different types that you can do and the different ways that you can approach countering Windranger. So now that I've looked at heroes, let's go on to items. One of the common mistakes I end up seeing people is trying to rush MKB. Even though MKB is a good counter to Windranger, getting it as a very early item is not the best idea. Generally what you want to do is picking up something that will prevent her from killing you and give you more sustain. I mentioned earlier that you can build stuff like Scout Shield, Vanguard, or an armor item just to allow you to block a lot of her physical damage from Focus Fire and give you passive health regen. The other option that's there that is very good to build in, especially if you're an offlaner, is to build Crimson Guard, because you can not only give like damage block to yourself but also to your allies. It's a very good item. The other defensive items that you can get are evasion, so you can buy a solar crest, a butterfly, or even what's even better than both of them is a halberd, because you can use the halberd active on Windranger and it lasts longer on ranged heroes. I think it's 4.5 seconds right now, which is really long, and it essentially makes her focus fire, like her standing there idle like, am I doing right clicks right now? But she isn't, and it's a very annoying item to play against, and it makes her constantly have to play around that item and trying to not get close to the hero that has the halberd. The other option that you have as well that you can pressure Windranger with more is Orchid. The fact that Windranger is very heavily reliant on her spells. She's essentially a spellcaster. All 4 of her spells are like activatable, and the thing is that it forces her to build BKB earlier and prevents her from even being able to play aggressive. So playing sometimes these mid heroes who pick up an early Orchid can be very good against Windranger at times. I've already covered Blade Mail multiple times this video. Really good item, buffed as a counter to Windranger. Now the other items you want to consider if you're playing as a support is you want to pick up a Glimmer Cape or a Ghost Scepter. Obviously with Ghost Scepter, Windranger can't do damage to you with her Focus Fire, but she still can power shot you, so it's important when you do activate the Ghost Scepter that you do try and walk and try and dodge her Focus Fire. Do look at her animation and look at where she is like facing forward, because that's where her power shot is going to go. The other item is Glimmer Cape, and why Glimmer Cape is really good is because if your ally gets shackled onto the tree, you can put them invisible. Windranger's power shot does a lot less damage when you're running away, and it's the fact that you can block a lot of the damage from her power shot, and that's how she ends up finishing off a lot of kills out there as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me down in the comments what ultimate ability I should do next, and if you're interested in more mechanics videos like this, make sure you subscribe.